All right, Chef Bill, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Totally fine. Thank you for asking. My name is Vahid Chitsaz, part of the Elite Mastermind group. Thank you for taking this time and being on our live session.
Oh God, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I feel very honored, man.
You got it, Bill. Bill, let's dive into it. Just introduce. Listen, your Instagram account is amazing. I need to avoid it during lunchtime and dinner time because you're going to go crazy. Who's
Yeah,
taking these pictures of these food, man? That is crazy. Awesome.
honestly, it's all me. I mean, I'm a kind of a one-man show at the moment, and I kind of try to share what I do as I cook, and I do these classes, and it's been very difficult because my girlfriend, she's a huge Instagram influencer. She does her thing, and she does the deal, and watching her, I'm slow learning. I never came from this side of life, I'm from kitchens, back of the house, like this whole social media. I used to place orders on a phone and write it down. Like anything online is usually I'm still getting used to it. So I'm learning, but I'm trying to do the best I can. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you're doing a fantastic job, brother.
Oh, thank
You got to give yourself a little bit more credit. It's fantastic. You don't
you.
get, and guess what? The slower you learn it, the better you will learn it. So
Yeah.
totally take your time.
That's so true on everything, honestly.
Awesome. Let's dive into Think and Grow Rich. When did you start with the book? How did you start? And how are you using it in your business today?
Well, okay. So it's funny. I got sober a while ago, and this whole journey has been really hard. And one of the gentlemen that runs the treatment center that I'm associated with, his name's Veggie. He mentioned the book to me a while back, and I was never in a place to read it. And probably, let's say a few months ago, picked it up. And what I realized I really liked is I bought the book on tape, and I had the book which my girlfriend gave me, and so I would listen to the audiobook and read it along with it and take notes of it. I found that is the best way for me to actually absorb the information.
That's how I do it.
Oh, I mean, I never thought to do it before, and as I was doing it, man, I started to realize, oh shit, it's sticking, and it so closely aligns with the 12-step programs. I mean, essentially, this goes into, I think it involves really taking control of your thoughts a bit more than that does, but it's so aligned. And I noticed that it's been such a tool for me to realize that I'm in control and I choose what I consume in my life, not just food, emotionally, physically, nutritionally, informationally, everything. I control that, and I realized for so long when I was reading the book that I did this exact same thing with negative parts of life. So in the book, when it talked about, it takes just as much energy to put it into this as it does to poverty. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so right. I manifested misery and pain in my life so perfectly. And, and it was hard to understand that I could do it the other way. And so that's what I loved about this book. It spoke about taking control of you and how to do that. The definition of faith was really something that I struggled with until I read the book, and it's constant repetition and self-affirmation. And I was like, whoa, I control that too. I thought faith was something that some people had, some people didn't. I couldn't understand why I didn't have it. But I'd sit in the mirror, and for 10 months, I told myself I love me in the mirror every day for 10 months. And at the end of 10 months, I love myself, right? More than I used to. And so to switch that with a higher power to a faith in that, what I'm doing, I'm going to make it, and it really blew my world open. And that's just like, for the last probably 3 or 4 months, it really kind of just jumped in on me. So, I mean, it blew my world up when I first got a hold of it.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Listen, when I picked up the book the first time, it was crazy. I thought faith meant religion, and everybody could pick the religion, or
Yep.
some people these days don't have religion. But then when I read it, I was like, this makes way more sense than what I thought it meant. And I realized those thoughts that I had, none of them were mine. It was just the collective thoughts of everybody else, the culture, the background, the socioeconomics that you live in, the city you live in, the neighborhood you live in, the church you go to. And I was like, none of this stuff is mine, but I'm kind of claiming it right now. Why don't I just give them back and just claim new stuff? And this time I'm in control of it. So it messes with your head. You question how you got this far without knowing the right material. That's what the first
Yeah.
thing I was going through in my mind.
Well, I think as human beings, we're made to survive. Like everything I do is made to keep me alive and survive. And I didn't necessarily grow up around this type of information, this type of work you do on yourself. I didn't know it, so I put together the best effort I could to help me survive, and it worked. But I was just surviving. I wasn't thriving. I wasn't living to the degree that I do today. But and then to take that control and power back, it takes responsibility. And that scares a lot of people, because you have to take responsibility for yourself. Oh man, like now the work can get done. And but once you do, it's so empowering, and it's the type of freedom that I didn't know I needed. And I really didn't until you actually. I love how the book introduces it. Like it doesn't tell you what you need to know. It lets you come to that realization yourself. It's whether in the first chapter or last chapter, at some point you're gonna go, oh, I choose this. I'm not defined by my past. I can change my narrative. So go do it. Take responsibility first. That's what I love about it. I love this kind of stuff, man.
So let me ask you a question. When you're part of this organization or club that I should call, during which part of the 12 step are you responsible to help somebody else? Is that the 13th step, or is that the?
No, 13th step is something very different. That is, we're not going to talk about that. But it's the 12 steps. So when you do all your 12 steps, the last one is to carry this message to another alcoholic, right? Freely give to other people what was so given to you for free, and being very selfless, and just passing this information along because it's so needed, and it's what we're meant to do, is to help somebody else with our experiences. And through that, you get so much deeper gratitude, and gratification in the right way, not necessarily the instant version. I heard the lady speak at a meeting. She says, in the program, we recover through the soul, not through the vein anymore, right? I mean, that's a little, but it's true. Like the gratification we need and the love that we seek, it takes some work, but when you get it, it's so worth it,
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, a lot of times we do things and we go out of our way to help somebody else, but sometimes we may not do the same for ourselves. We will go take bullets for our family members, for our children, for husband, wife, but a lot of times we may not take those actions if it was just for ourselves. So I know that step is very, very important, helping others. And here's another question do I have. Does it have to be only with alcohol or substances? Can it be addiction to TV? Could it be addiction to negative people? Could it be addiction to your surrounding that's not serving you? Could it be those things? Why does it have to be substances only?
Well, it's not, and I think people. I mean, I wish they changed the word alcoholism to something else, because it's the ism that we focus on, right? Whether it's alcohol, drugs, sex, shopping, everybody does it to some degree. It's just that drugs and alcohol are a more obviously glaring, effect, right? Like the effect of lying too much, or cheating. These things are kind of subtle, but alcoholism and drug addiction, that's very obvious. Like this is tearing your life apart. Just that's the nature of it. But how many people sit on their phones more than they look up in the daytime, and they're constantly consuming, and not doing things like taking care of their family, or going to get a job, or doing all those other things, and they're just watching. They're wasting their time as an addiction, right? Or one of the things people lean on, sugar and processed food, right? Emotional attachment, right? I eat sugar all day long, but I'm sober and I don't do any drugs or alcohol. But you eat insane amounts of processed food and sugar, and you're doing the same thing, just not with something that's such obvious. It's going to kill you later in life, just not as instantly as most things do. So I tell everyone all the time, the 12 steps is an outline for living that it fits everybody, right? It just like the Think and Grow Rich, like this is something everybody can do, and it doesn't cost anything, but it takes effort and responsibility, and that's what scares most people, I think. It did for me, at least.
Chef, how we're gonna change this whole thing where part of the 12 step, we're creating 12.5 step, where in that step we teach them Think and Grow Rich. We hand them the book Think and Grow Rich, and they gotta read it in the class, or they gotta read it in a group setting. When we're gonna be able to do that?
I think everybody should read it at some point in their life. I mean, it is such a valuable tool. And like the 12 steps, it alludes to some of this stuff, but it doesn't really make the emphasis on how strong you are mentally. And when you take control of your life, right? You know, to define what faith is, and, you know, the state of mind makes a difference. You know, we're in a negative state of mind all the time. I used to talk so badly to myself, the lowest self-worth ever. That's why I helped a lot of people, or I did everything else, because I felt so bad about myself, and I didn't realize it started with me. I used to think I was a slave to my thoughts. If I thought it means I had to do it. And that's not true. Like, and that's what, but because that's how powerful thoughts are. I mean, I just think good and bad, like how you think matters, right? And it's a big deal for me. And the one thing that I felt that the 12 steps really didn't describe is, you know, in the book it talks about a burning desire, right? What that is, the magnet, this is what I wake up for. When I'm using and I'm drinking, everything I do benefits that. I wake up thinking about it. Every action, every person I talk to, everything I do facilitates me consuming and accessing whatever drug I need at the time. That is what this book is talking about, but in a positive way. Like, to wake up in the morning and just say, you know what? Like, for my biggest goal now is I want to change the way people in recovery know about food and how they eat and the tool they use. That is my main goal. Like, I don't care about anything else. Like, using what I'm skilled at and adding a piece to the recovery industry that nobody's talking about. No one talks about the food we eat, and it's one of the biggest things that change how you recover. And so that's what I want to do. And that is what I wake up to do. Every action I take, I manifest it, because that's where I want to go, right? And so everything I do has to get aligned with that. If it doesn't align with it, I don't mess with it. Sorry, I'm not here yet. This is my goal and purpose. And it was nice that this described about how I was feeling, right? And then it made it even more of a focus. That's what I really liked about it, you know?
I love it. I couldn't agree with you more. I think your health and your mental health contribute a lot to your well-being and wellness down the line. And you are absolutely right. Whenever people spend their time in a non-productive way, because the effect is not affecting their surroundings, then it might be just okay to do it. But if, let's say, for example, you drink or you use substances or you do something more dramatic where the effect might actually cause harm or discomfort to other people, now we know that this person is addicted. But in reality, they're addicted to so many other things that are not causing you and I any other outcome, and we don't notice it. And that's exactly what we're doing. So I was talking to one of my friends, and we talked about that, of how we should make some type of a program where the younger children, as they're growing up, they should be able to do this human communication, not just have their, not just be looking at their phone, which there is nothing wrong with it. I understand that you can consume way more information faster. It's right there at your fingertip. I'm cool with that. But if they're not learning how to communicate with another human being, that fulfillment is never going to come in. I rarely get a fulfillment looking at my phone. I get a fulfillment helping somebody else, and then they send me a text message saying, thank you very much, this did this, then I get a fulfillment. But if it was just a text message by itself and I actually didn't do the human interaction, there is no fulfillment. And then when I don't fulfill, I might not do what I could potentially do to my maximum potential. So I'm not going out of my way. I'm not doing the extra mile that Dr. Hill was talking about. So it's a vicious cycle. You just got to get on the right cycle.
Yeah, but nobody talks about it, and nobody wants to talk about what it means to take responsibility for your thoughts and your actions. Right? It's very subtle. You can get away with it. It's socially acceptable, and social media and technology. It's such a benefit. We've never had so much information at our fingertips as we do, but no one's talking about the proper way to use it. Like, there's proper ways to use everything. So how do you do that? But it's just no one talks about it, and they don't. I think kids that came up like younger than me, they have a time where they only know technology. I remember when I used to leave a message on an answering machine, had a pager. If I wasn't home, then you didn't get a hold of me. I'll talk to you when I get back. And I had to go outside and play, and I had to learn these things. And I think that has kind of been lost a bit. and anxiety, depression, all some of these mental situations that people get into can be prevented by just interacting with life hands-on, and feeling what the benefit of what self-esteem is, and that you have to give yourself self-esteem, doing esteemable acts. No one gives that to you. For the longest time, I thought that people gave me self-esteem and worth and value. I'm the only one that does that, and I didn't know that. And that's essentially what this book is telling you: is create self-esteem, do things that benefit you, put you first, love yourself, and you control what happens to you. Bad things happen to all of us. We all had a past that's not good at some point. Things are very traumatizing, but what you do with it matters. And how you can change your narrative. That's what I loved about this, is that it's telling you to change your narrative. What is it that you want? First, clearly define what you want. Once you define what you want, then make a plan to get it, and then go hang around with some people that do what you want to get done. It's like you're gonna hang around a barbershop, you're gonna get a haircut, right? If I want to earn $1 million, well, I might as well go see what millionaire I can put myself next to, and if I can't act as if till I get there. And people, I don't think they realize the importance of what they surround themselves with. I could not stay sober until I put myself around 30 men daily that stayed sober and had integrity, and they showed me the way. And I eventually I got what they had because they gave it to me, but I couldn't get sober on my own. I had to be around people who do the deal, and it's so important. And I think that's what people, I think they miss that too. Go get what you want, but go hang out with who you want that has what you want. It's a big deal.
I agree with that 100%. Your surrounding and your neighbors and your friends and your acquaintances and the people that you associate with on a daily basis, whether it's on purpose or unintentionally, you get into that inner circle. You gotta watch out for it, because just like you said, you hang around with barbers, you're gonna get a haircut. That's how it's gonna be. So you definitely want to be able to do that. I want to start hanging around with you so I could eat delicious food.
Hey, I'll keep you fed, man. I'll keep you fed. Yeah, no, I love it.
I love it, Chef. Listen, I want to thank you so much for taking this time and being with us this morning. I love what you're doing. I love the message you're standing for, and I think we're just going to spread this whole message. Just let everybody know, Think and Grow Rich. Listen, the book doesn't cost much on Amazon. I think it's like $8-9. You can get the book.
Super affordable.
I think you can get it on YouTube. It's very, very cheap. It's very, very inexpensive for people to have access to the top of, and probably the best self-development book that ever was created on this planet. So I highly recommend it to everybody. If you have not read it, you definitely want to go grab yourself a copy. Take your time. Don't rush into it. It's not a novel. You study it. You learn it. It's something that will definitely help you in your life. So I appreciate you, Chef, taking your time and being with us this morning.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor, man. I really appreciate it, and anything to show people they're worth it. Go get what you want. It's never going to come to you. And this just it described how I felt, and it gave me a plan to do it. Right, and that's the best part, is you just accept direction where it comes, and it showed me how to do it, and I was really grateful for that. So thank you.
Love it. Thank you so much. We will be speaking more. Hopefully we'll do more live sessions with you.
Anytime you need something catered, let me know. I hear you guys in LA, so I'll take care of any food needs you need, and we'll connect again.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. Thank you very much.
You too. Bye-bye.